Hey folks, this is Bastin Slot, and no, this is not the proper video from tonight. What we have instead is 5 brand new images, including one massive spoiler image. I promise I'll give you warnings before we hit that one for Camp Cretaceous Season 3. Now these all come from the Universal DreamWorks website, but extra credit to Lewis Lee, Jurassic Korea over on Twitter, who is a fantastic person to follow if you want Jurassic updates on anything Jurassic basically, and is the person who broke this news as far as I saw. Right, so let's get started. 5 images, some very, very big, some a little bit less big, but this one will start off. This is definitely one of the less big ones here. We have Yasmin and Brooklyn soaring around on the hang glider. Of course, we saw the hang gliders in use during the trailer. They got attacked at some point. You know, over here somewhere there's a... It's a Dimorphodon, okay? That's a Dimorphodon. There's a Dimorphodon pack, some swarm, I should say, somewhere off in the skies. And although Yasmin and Brooklyn look like they're chatting here and having a good time, using the hang gliders to get around, this isn't going to last. There's going to be an attack pretty soon. Things are going to go downhill pretty bloody quickly. Following on from that, though, we do have something a little bit more interesting, and that is Ben looking like he's having the time of his life, leading the Ankylosaurus charge here, and of course, our very first confirmation, oddly enough, from a certain dinosaur who was not in the trailer at all, literally did not appear in the trailer at all. I think we all assumed Bumpy wasn't going to be randomly not in Season 3 or would be killed off or something. But I think it's nice to have confirmation that Bumpy will indeed be returning and that Ben is going to stay in basically Rambo mode for most of Season 3. We have, of course, a whole Ankylosaurus herd over here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or so Ankylosaurs in the area, and from the looks of it, right, if I had to wager a guess, this is kind of what I suggested in the trailer already, because we don't see Bumpy, so I think what's happening is Bumpy is being saved to save the day. You know, the idea is things are going badly, E750 is attacking, it's all going to hell, Bumpy's going to come in and save the day. That's very much writing 101, especially for a children's show. And watch me be entirely wrong. So there's every chance, because if you remember, if you think back to these hang glider scenes, Ben was actually not in these scenes in the trailer as far as I remember. There's every chance at some point Ben disappears on his own little quest to try to find Bumpy. The gang is getting attacked. Maybe this is the night after the E750 attacks the camp we saw in the trailer, you know, where it's raining and we see Darius in particular seems like he's about to get attacked. And then Ben storms in on Bumpy. Bumpy has, in her time away, become like the leader of the Ankylosaurus crew. That seems to be the case, and they're going to charge in, scare away E750 or beat back E750, contain it, whatever, maybe kill it, but it seems a bit harsh, and save the day. This is a celebratory Ben here, to say the least, so that's really cool. Really nice to see Bumpy is coming back. I do miss Baby Bumpy. I'm not gonna lie. Baby Bumpy is the cutest thing this franchise has ever done, and I will always miss it. Following on from that, we have a bit more of a nothing image. This is when they're probably in episode 1, they're first leaving the island. They've got their little ship made. Everyone seems pretty happy, chill, having a good time, you know, smiling, optimistic about the future, and then they get whomped by a massive tidal wave. Not really much else to say on this one. Finally, well, not finally, penultimately, we have Darius and we have Yasmin, who I keep wanting to call Yasmina, looking ruggedly messed up. I love Darius's hair, but I point this out how much I love his hair, that it's just afroing up more and more as the seasons go on. And he's got, I think we saw something like this already in the trailer, he's got a laptop of some description, maybe taken from Wu's lab. We saw them go explore Wu's lab earlier on in the teaser trailer and the actual trailer, and that's where they found out all the information on E750, so maybe they want to... This actually ties in really well. Maybe they want to reveal what Wu is doing back on the mainland. Maybe they think it's important to help them get home somehow. You know, maybe they can use it as a homing beacon, you know, send out a signal. Maybe they're just going to try to communicate with the mainland because it's an internet-capable device. It's a laptop. That's kind of what they do. Now, before we move on, this is your spoiler ahead warning. Big spoilers. I don't count things as, you know, Bumpy being back as a spoiler or anything else we've seen today. That's all been in the trailers. This next image is a whole other kettle of fish, however. There we go. So we have the gang. Very important to note here, very quickly. This is around the same time of day. As you can see here, it's very, very similar in its colour tone. And Ben is not here in the 5. He's not there. So this maybe ties into what I was saying earlier. And here, I tell you what, I'm going to zoom in. So inside the helicopter there are 2 people, and one of them, as you can see, is Dr. Wu. He's looking very stoic and straightforward. I suspect this is maybe more of a promo image than an actual screenshot. The lighting definitely seems to be a step above the show itself, but Dr. Wu appears to be back. He's being led here by a mercenary of some description on the right hand side, and he's pulled up in a helicopter squaring up against the 5 other members of the group. Again, sans Ben and sans Bumpy. Now, Dr. Wu, some people have suggested Wu has a clone or a twin brother and stuff like that, and I think that's utter nonsense. I would be very, very surprised if the series goes that way. I know Wu is a bit of a megalomaniac, and he seems like the type to do it. And if anyone was going to clone themselves because of their ego, Wu would be the one to do it. But I do think that would be jumping the shark just a little bit. I know we had Maisie, but that's very different. She was born as a baby using the same DNA. She wasn't like a one-to-one human adult clone. That's a whole other kettle of fish. So if I had to wager a little guess on what's going on here, obviously they know about Wu and the E750. They probably know about Wu and his ties with Biosyn, at least that's what we're assuming happens, and his ties with Manticore, in particular for Camp Cretaceous. So you can see there's actually no laptop here, importantly perhaps, but perhaps Wu finds out what's going on. We always thought Manticore was going to show up in Season 3, that always seemed pretty inevitable, it's been building up towards that. So now, rather than here as a rescue operation, here to save the children, it's a clean-up operation, it's here to get rid of these kids who have information about what's going on the island. Maybe even from the laptop they send out a message for help that's intercepted by Wu, because of course it's probably his laptop, and he comes over to the island with the Merc. This does put the other image into a bit of context as well. Maybe Ben is here to actually save them from Wu rather than from E750. I actually like that a lot more because Wu made Bumpy, and if you remember when Bumpy was born, Wu was a little disappointed. The asymmetrical nature of Bumpy's head kind of annoyed Wu. Bumpy stood out a little bit. I remember Wu was not a big fan. So Bumpy being part of the rescue operation, you know, maybe the kids are being wrangled by these mercenaries, they're being captured, they're going to be taken away to some Manticore prison somewhere or something. Bumpy and Ben ride in, save the day, beat back Wu, beat back the Merc here. We could talk about how Wu survived the attack by E750 we saw in the teaser trailer, but I mean, it's a cartoon, you know, we just did. We've seen people survive a lot more in a lot worse. If any of you have seen Zoo, there's a dude at the end of... I'm going to spoil it because it's been out for bloody ages. There's a dude at the end of Season 2 who gets like torn apart by mutant saber cats, and he survives anyway, so one dinosaur's fine. My point is, Wu's alive, he's back, he's here to shut the kids down. Bumpy and Ben are going to ride in and save the day. That's Camp Cretaceous Season 3, out in a couple of weeks. We'll have tons of content on it when it lands. Hope you're all very excited. Feel free to speculate down below. Did I miss anything? Do you have any alternate theories? Let me know what you think, and I'll see you lovely folks in the next video. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much love as always. Bye bye.